Hey, everybody, welcome into the building. Welcome to the train ride. And it's what's today? Tuesday, trending topics. And we got some stuff to talk about. So listen, guys, don't be hopping on this train for free. Don't jump the turnstile, okay? Don't be sneaking on the train. You know what y'all gotta do? What y'all gotta do? Hit that like button. And listen, I appreciate all of y'all that are becoming a member of the channel. Join the Great Tribe. It's going to be a ball. Ladon Sweet Tea, thank you for becoming a member. I truly appreciate you. Now, listen, everybody, welcome in the building. I'm seeing all of y'all, and I'm glad to see all of y'all. The Juice Radio and Talk Show, thanks for being here. Ladon, thanks for being here. Best-I BK, Julius, listen, love you all. Celeste, Carol, come on, people. Hey, Monique King. Listen, people, come in the building. Nathan, we about to get this thing started. Hey, Sin City from NOLA. Angela, hey, listen, thank you, Nubian Cream, Nubian Mahogany. You always do it for me. You start this train ride off. So everybody in the chat, let me get a what? A choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. And listen, you know how you gotta purchase that ticket, okay? How do you purchase that ticket? You just hit that like button. All right, Savannah, then punch that ticket. I like it, okay? Hello, everybody. Thanks for being in the building. We're about to board this train, okay? Because we got to get this thing started because we got a lot of topics and a lot to talk about. So let me bring our monthly ticket and holder into the building. Hey, Auntie Robin.
Hey, Diva. Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready? Ready?
Yes.
Thank you, Sheena. Thank you for becoming a member. Thanks for joining the Great Tribe. I truly appreciate you. All right, now let me bring Royer in the building. Hey, Royer.
Hello, Auntie Diva. Hello, Auntie Robbie. Hello, Robin. Sorry. Hello, all in out there land. It's so good to see everybody tonight.
It's
Happy
so good
Tuesday.
to see you. Yes, happy Tuesday. Listen, honey, last night we had what a train ride, honey. And some people jumped off mid-ride and hopped on
before we got going good.
Car, okay? They hopped in his car.
we had a lot of complaints last night, and so, they were addressed. So for those of you who filed complaints in the complaint box, they were addressed with the conductor, and she is going to fix the issues that occurred from last night.
I'm going to try. Listen, they might be on your car again tonight. I'm going to try. But Michelle said last night was a rough train ride. Okay, we can better today. That's all we can do. Okay, hey, Sebastian.
Hey, I know you guys were talking about people who hopped off the train last night, and I know y'all brought me afterwards trying to be shady, but it's okay.
Hey, Smo.
Hey, what happened last night?
Now you got to go back and watch, honey. The train was shaking. It got off the track. It was
derailed a couple of times.
And I wasn't on the train. See, you can't say it's my fault this time.
No, it wasn't, honey. But the train, listen, the train was rocky last night. We're going to try to be good tonight. Hey,
we will try.
Hey, y'all. Yeah, the train was fun last night, though.
It was.
You guys say, it was fun.
It was fun. It was a little turbulence, but it was fun.
Turbulence, but it was fun.
It was fun.
Ready for another fun night, though.
Thank you. Hey, Candy.
Hey, like last night, all I heard was yelling and screaming. So I had to turn. I had to get off the train.
Like, wait, there was some yelling and screaming.
It got heated.
We had a creative discussion last night.
I like that word.
It was more of a Greyhound bus ride.
Oh no, Diva, I got a better word for you. I had a
Greyhound bus ride.
Y'all had an intense fellowship. Y'all had an intense fellowship. That's what you had.
Rosa Parks was disappointed, y'all.
Listen, she done downgraded us from the train ride to a Greyhound bus ride, and on the Greyhound, if you know anything about the Greyhound, it's always ghetto. But anyway,
the toilets don't flush when you on a bus. I was like, this is nasty.
She said Greyhound bus. My goddaughter said, Auntie Rob, I will never take that Greyhound bus again. It's Peter Pan or nothing for me.
What about Megabus?
This is going back some years, so I'm hollering.
Yeah, the train
Okay,
is
let's
rocking.
straight on the
Hey,
chat.
Leo.
What's going on, y'all? What's happening?
Leo.
Last night was real. It was lit last night. It was.
It
It
was
was fun.
lit last night, okay? It was lit.
I had to write some people up. I had to put some people on the HR docket.
That part. That part. Put them on HR docket, okay? Hey, Savannah.
I skinned my knees last night, so it was a rough one.
Not
I
we had
did
to
a
call the
forward
ambulance
tuck and
last night.
roll.
We called the ambulance last night. Dang,
I sure
y'all.
did. It was a fun one, though.
It was a
Y'all was
fun
cutting
one.
up.
Yeah, we listen. Sometimes we got to get through tough conversations. But you know what was great? You know what's great over here? We get through the tough conversations respectfully, okay? So we did the darn thing last night, and we about to do it tonight because we got some subjects to chat about, okay? So we got our boarders on this train. We about to pull this train out the station, people. And are y'all ready?
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's do
Yay.
it.
Oh, okay. We're ready to move to our first stop. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and take our first stop to Jonathan Majors. Whew, let me breathe. Take a deep. Everybody woosah, okay? Jonathan
Woosah.
Majors, honey. Jonathan Majors was becoming the up and rising star, okay? He has body for days, okay? He can act. We cannot take that away from him. He has acting skills on him. They said he went to Yale, okay? Like, so he's coming from where our good Angela Bassett came from, okay? We know Angela Bassett, she can act. I believe Angela went to Yale also, okay?
And Courtney B. Vance.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
okay. You listen, that you talking some good people in terms of acting have come from Yale, okay, that we know of and that we love. And he was becoming one of the beloved ones, you know, and rising up to the top. Well, he had the situation, incident, whatever we want to label it as, with some young lady. Okay, we still don't know all the details behind that, but what we do know is his management company dropped him. And what management company is going to drop you when you got known jobs in the works for years to come? One of his latest, everybody mute because I'm hearing a little background noise. One of his latest projects, he did Creed, he did Ant-Man, and he had 3 jobs lined up with Marvel, and they got money. Okay. And one of his jobs was going to happen in 2026. So you're talking about a person where you know you're going to make money for years to come. They dropped him. And then when his PR company dropped him, I was like, all right, something serious going on. Because when a public relations company can't handle a scandal, that's problematic. They dropped him too. Well, I started digging because I said something don't seem right, don't smell right, and don't feel right. Okay, this couldn't have been his first time, placing his hands on probably another person. All right, so I said, let me dig and see what I could find out. And so I find this little one article I'm going to share with y'all. Okay, and it's not pretty. Look at that man; he got body. And listen, you can't just wake up like that. You got to work for that body. He put in the work. But it's not good, people. Let's look at this here, okay? It says, Jonathan Majors accused of being vicious, they said. These are some strong words. And cruel by 2 directors. So these directors claim Major has a history of bad behavior towards others. I mean, who raised them? We got to go dig in to see who is his mother and father. What happened? Did somebody drop him on his head? What's going on? Vicious and cruel? That's harsh words, okay? And so in the immediate aftermath of Jonathan Major's surprising arrest for alleged DV over the weekend, 2 directors has come out to label the Creed star as vicious and cruel. Okay, now I'm not going to go over that piece because we all know he was arrested. And so let's jump down to here. 2 directors claim that Major's alleged behavior was not an isolated incident by far. In February 2023, the filmmaker A.B. Allen tweeted about a rising star, okay, who in actuality is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being. So much so that this filmmaker, He tweeted about a rising star. He didn't name him at the time. He just tweeted. He said, yeah, there's this person out there y'all all think is all cool and everything, but he's vicious, he's cruel, and he's an abusive human being. There's a particular actor relatively new on the scene whose Twitter has violently fallen head over heels for, who in actuality is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being, both professionally and in his personal life. And every new viral thirst tweet about him drives me insane. After Major's arrest hit the newswire, a user tweeted, "Now we know who this tweet was about," which included a screenshot of A.B. Allen's previous post. Allen replied with ding, 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 meaning, yeah, bro, you got it right. That's who I was talking about. I regret my overly flippant tone here. I read the words alleged assault in the tweet, figured we were talking about a shoving match outside of a bar or something, then posted this. Once I read the details far more brutal than I expected, I wish I had something else, okay? So when Twitter users inquired as to why Allen did not elaborate on his cryptic tweets, Allen said other people who work with Majors would be victimized and become collateral damage in a media sweeping probe into the matter. It would still expose people who have been hurt, Allen pinned on Twitter. Listen, I read enough. We could start chatting about it. All I can say is, good gosh, oh my. They said vicious and cruel. Auntie Robin, what are your thoughts?
Well, in America, it is said that one is presumed innocent until found guilty. And my hope would have been to wait until this whole thing was adjudicated. I also say that, I'm not one who fans out over people because that's the true New Yorker in me. So when everybody fawns over the latest or the greatest, the shiniest object, I usually just fall back in the cut. I find that it's very interesting in the initial reporting of this incident and in the days immediately thereafter, no one came out publicly behind him. That was concerning. Because again, here's this big rising star. The public is fawning all after him, but none of his peers came out for him. That was problematic. Worse than that, though, was whoever his PR team is, and
was
okay at the time, as well as his attorney. When I saw the text messages that were published, they also didn't speak to. It didn't clarify or present a strong case for him.
Right.
That was problematic, but still, this is America. And typically, especially if you're a Black man, Black woman, Black person, you are guilty until proven innocent. You can be the victim of a crime and you will be criminalized before the perpetrator of the crime. However, the fact that has been virtual silence about this man from not only whoever had been his team of supporters, his PR team, his attorney, and his peers did not bode well. And if in fact the rumors that came out, especially with what you shared, if it's true, it's true, and he just has to eat it. And some people are their own worst enemy.
Yeah, thank you.
It is what it is.
Yeah, Roy, what are your thoughts? They said vicious and cruel.
From the beginning, when this story came out, I have the thought and opinion, as Auntie Robin said, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But there were several signs to me, that body language that just gave me, in my opinion, he just didn't seem too stable, And sometimes I don't think people have the intention to put their hands on people or to allegedly or to, do things to harm people, but sometimes we don't know our own strength, as Whitney Houston told us. And sometimes we allow that strength to overtake us and we just go a little too far. And then, before you know it, we have just gone too far. So I just feel like if they're, his attorneys has told us and kept saying that they are going to present evidence to the DA, and correct me if I'm wrong, Auntie, they're going to present evidence to the DA to prove that he is innocent and that all of this would just be dropped. Now, ain't that what they told us?
That's what they told us. Let me add this while you're talking, okay? He went to Yale, and listen, Yale and New York University community, specifically the 2012 to 2017 graduates of NYU, Juilliard, Yale, consider the actor a sociopath and abuser. Continue with your thoughts. I just wanted to add that in there.
Yes. And so, when we were talking behind the scenes, I was telling you, sometimes people, these actors, they get in these roles and they really get sentimented in the individual or the character that they are playing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they take these characters home with them. And it just, when you see him in his interviews, he plays this individual to be so meek and kind and just so perfect. Mm-hmm. And that's just not the reality of anybody's life. Nobody's perfect. And, to have people in your past even saying that you were problematic then, and so for the problem to kind of start resurfacing, because what we have to remember is, everybody, and then I will be done, people always give us their representative first. They give us who they want us to see, Mm-hmm. But eventually you can only allow that representative to go on so far before your actual reality pops in the picture. And so I think he had a moment when reality popped in the picture. And so now everybody is remembering that reality, now that someone has had the strength to stand up and speak on that reality.
Listen, they said what happens in the dark will always come to light. They're saying back in his school days, it was a problem. Back in the school days, they labeled him a sociopath and abuser. And every I can't say every, and directors that have worked with him said, yo, he's out of control. Julius, your thoughts?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Now, at first, because I know this person was coming up, mm-hmm. right? I'm like, okay, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt,
right?
But now you have directors coming out, mm-hmm. people who have worked with him, people from his alma mater, mm-hmm. 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 his management, mm-hmm. his PR. Mm-hmm. So, and it's like I said yesterday when we was talking about the love and marriage Huntsville, I said it's an individual person's problem, mm-hmm. and this is his problem.
But see, sometimes me as an individual, I can impact others because you don't live in this world alone. Mm-hmm. So it's no longer just individual. It's the young lady that allegedly he put hands on. Mm-hmm. It's these people that he went to school with that are traumatized. He went to school there with this thing 2012 to 2017. They're traumatized. The 2012 to 2017. I'm being serious, boy. They're traumatized. They said this man is a sociopath and abuser. But you know what? Shame on Yarl and Juilliard for letting him graduate and run amok like that at the school. Okay?
Amok.
Nikki G told us that we're reaching, Diva. We're reaching. She's giving us R for reaching.
Well, listen, we ain't reaching. We read it. Listen, this is what the people saying. I got to give y'all what the people saying. I had to go. Listen, when your PR team drops you, you better sit up and wake up because something ain't right. That's what they in the business of doing. They're in the business of handling crisis. But when they look into this and they dropped his crisis situation, something ain't right. Sebastian, what are your thoughts?
Thoughts are this. Shame on everyone who's speaking up now.
Oh.
Yes. Shame on everyone who's speaking up now.
Okay.
Directors, colleagues, classmates, whatever, shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
There are sociopaths that are able to do well in society under proper treatment and therapy
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
everything. But, you know, you guys did not ever say this prior to all of his things that were happening, prior to all of his movies and stuff that were happening. I
Right.
want to say this as well. It's really giving like, let's destroy this man's character as we can, and let's dig a hole even deeper than it should be. He's
Oh.
currently pending DV charges.
Mm-hmm.
Let those ride out, but now y'all want to bring out sociopathic tendencies and all these other things. I'm not saying you should not have the right to speak or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but shame on you for waiting till it had to get to the moment of someone being hurt. Shame on you. I also want to say this.
Uh-huh.
The attorney, I'm glad you make sure that your client is shut up and has not been saying anything. That's
Yes.
perfect. He,
Facts. Yes.
That part, yeah.
that's very good because a lot of people would be talking at this moment. A lot of people who are going through this would be out speaking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But good job on that.
Okay.
Um, I personally, I want the best for him,
Okay.
even if he is a quote unquote sociopath. As I've said, some sociopaths can function in society like everyday individuals. They just have antisocial skills. They're very antisocial.
Oh.
Second, I want to say this to the woman who touched his phone. Don't go into any guy's phone. Just don't. Just don't. Just don't. If you suspect he's cheating on you, just leave. Just leave if you know you.
Mm,
Just leave. Just leave.
mm, mm,
Don't go into the phone. The phone could
mm.
be the worst thing that you could ever done. Is
Oh
going in
my.
the phone.
You okay, Sebastian? I got a lot of people I gotta get to, but let me say this. I got a right to see your phone. That's it. That's all. Leo,
No, you
what are your thoughts on this situation?
I'm kind of half Robin and I'm kind of half Sebastian. Look, so I'm
I
gonna ask
love
this
you. I
question.
Leo
So,
Aries. I love you.
so I want to know who has there been any black people
Oh man.
step up and say anything in his defense? People, actresses who have worked with him.
Mm-mm.
Has it been any black people to say that this man is a sociopath?
Mm.
Mm.
And I just wonder because he may be a very temperamental actor. He
Mm.
may be very outspoken on how he may want to portray a role or in speaking on his opinions. He may be very emotional. He's a big black man. He might be seen as overly aggressive because he
Thank
is emotional. He may have some problems, right? I don't know this man. I ain't never fall that. I wasn't checking for him like that. I think I might have seen him. I can't tell. I think I seen him on a Netflix show one time. I ain't been checking on him like that. I think it was The Harder They Fall. I seen him on that, and he did good. So I wasn't. I wasn't like I didn't see a charismatic individual that I need to keep checking for. I didn't see him like that. I didn't see him as problematic either. The man might have emotional issues. He might be unstable, but the pile on. How was he able to make it through the process? Because Monique was blacklisted just by saying that Lee Daniels didn't treat her right. And how was she supposed to go on tour for Precious and she wasn't getting paid? She got totally blacklisted. So I don't know how this black man, was able to navigate through the deep, treacherous waters of the entertainment business, get these top level jobs, and he crazy and he a bed bug. I mean, I don't understand. He
Well,
might be. I don't understand.
Okay, I hear you. Don, thank you for the super chat. He said, believe the victim, but investigate. Hello,
I'm sorry.
holla, holla.
There's been too many quote unquote victims who've lied before. I can't do that anymore. I can't believe the victim anymore. I'm
And I
sorry, I
don't
made
think I
every
don't
victim
hold on.
it's not that I don't think that she's lying.
Right. JL said no because he don't like black people. That's why ain't nobody black stood up for her. Listen, we're just talking here. Candy, I'm coming to you. But 1 second, because a lot of people, listen, I'm a big Rocky fan. So I know him from Creed. I know him. He has a lot of accolades and a lot of great work under his belt. But hold on 1 second. I just want y'all to see, like this man, this is him. This is Jonathan. This is Jonathan, people. That's Jonathan.
People are saying could it be the roids? I don't think it could, because you usually see that when it is said roids.
He's an actor, Sebastian, so he knows how to hide stuff well. But I'll wait till I get my turn.
Okay, that's the but you know what though, was he wasn't this build early on in his career, but it did look like he always worked out. So I don't know, because they're saying back in school, look at him. He's a nice looking man with an amazing body. Amazing. But okay, we're going to carry on because we got to carry on. Candy, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so like just a few things. The first thing, I was watching this vlog, this other vlogger, and she does backgrounds on people's and basically celebrities, and she did one on him.
Okay.
And he basically came from a very troubled background, like
Okay.
like abuse, and he was really bullied a lot for the way he looked, and because of that he became very like temperamental and very like he didn't know how to deal with his emotions basically.
Okay.
And he also I think his family had a lot of drug issues and everything like that, so that's no excuse, but that's that could be a part of it,
right?
And then number two, the more I'm hearing people talk, especially Sebastian, I do feel like he's being somewhat set up. You know what I'm saying? Now, do I think it's possible that, the whole DV thing is a thing? I do. But I feel like if he was a psychopath or a sociopath, he wouldn't have been able to get as far, because I feel like in the white world of movies, they wouldn't have let him got this far, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like if you walked on the set and you felt threatened by him, or you felt intimidated by him, you felt uncomfortable, you're only going to get so far as a black actor. And when you're making the majority of the white people who you work for feel like that. I don't see you being able to be a moody, temperamental, sociopath black man and be able to be in like Marvel movies, have these multi-million-dollar contracts. I don't see that happening. I feel that he probably was moody. He probably was hard to get along with. He probably was temperamental. And they said, oh, we see there's this weak spot. Let's all pounce on him now and get rid of him, basically. But I don't feel like if he was as threatening as they claim he was, there's no way I don't see him getting as far as he did by making so many white people uncomfortable.
Give me the records.
Especially in a Hollywood space when you're dealing with billions of dollars and they're quick to like slip a white person in there and take a black person's job to say, you know what I'm saying? I just don't see that happening.
I hear you, Candy. Let me move on to somebody else because we got some other topics too. But I want to say this: money trumps everything. And if you go back and list and see all the roles he was in, he's a good actor. But let's not just say that. I think if this DV thing didn't come out, he would have still been rolling on, terrorizing people, and they would have went for it because they care about the dollars they were making, right? So I'm going to come up to Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx, they said, and may he heal. May he heal in this hospital. But they said Jamie Foxx was being a pill on the set of this movie that he was currently filming. So much so that Cameron Diaz wanted to go back in retirement again after Jamie Foxx begged her to come out. So I don't want to always make this a black and white thing. I want to make this an individual thing. This man, according to many, was terrorizing the folks.
Go
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that but the thing is, Jamie Foxx has a whole bunch of stuff under his belt. You know, he has Oscar wins. He has a whole lot of stuff under his belt. This guy, Jonathan, he's still, even though he's doing a lot, he's still coming up. You know what I'm saying? He's still trying to get to, like, say, a Denzel Washington or a Jamie Foxx or even a Will Smith. So what I'm saying is that I just don't see him. He's still on the rise coming up, basically. So it's not like he's at the pinnacle of his career where he's at the top. He was still working his way up. And for him to be a sociopath, terrorizing people, making people upset, I feel like he probably wasn't the best to work with. I think he was probably unpleasant to work with, but I just don't feel like he was as bad as they say he is. And I think they're only saying it because they don't like him. They don't like him in the industry. He might be, and what probably was carrying him is his talent. That's why he's keep on getting hired and getting these roles. But I think a lot of people don't like him because of his personality, and they say, "Oh, we have an opportunity to pounce on him, and we're going to do it now."
Okay, I gotta move on. I hear what you're saying. Now, Best IBK said, Diva, you are way, 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 way too much into bodies. Listen, we all like what we like. Some people like the face, right? Some people like the face. I'm sorry. If you got a good body, you're going to catch me out there for a minute, okay? But it is what it is. We all got our thing that we like, but I hear you.
Legs and hips
and body.
Okay. Julius. And listen, the men into the bodies too, they like a big butt and a smile. Julius, what are your thoughts on this Jonathan Majors situation?
Oh, how?
Did I come to you already?
Yes, you did, baby.
I did. Okay, let me go to Smoke because I got a lot of people to get to. Smoke, what are your thoughts?
Well, a couple of things. I didn't think the day would come that hell has frozen over, but I'm agreeing with Sebastian, and I'll explain why. A couple of things. So we're clear on the actual facts. So Jonathan Majors was at Yale from 2013 to 2016. He graduated 2016. So that's clear. Another thing, the article you pulled up with those two tweets, those were not from people who have actual instances of working with him. They are talking. They say they know someone who went to school with him or worked with him, and they're recounting their experience, but they're not the actual people. So we have to be careful of where the source is coming from. And another thing, I also want to go back to what Candy was specifying earlier. Why are y'all just waiting now to speak on these situations and say this man was a sociopath, a terrorist? He had all these issues. Why not even catch him as soon as he was starting to catch fire? Like, I remember he did a movie. This stuff could have come out when he was doing The Last Man in San Francisco, or even when he was doing Lovecraft Country. He wasn't Jonathan Majors then, like he was still working his way up. So why not say something then about how problematic and terrible he was? And I do agree with the point of the simple fact that, granted, some people in Hollywood can get away with certain stuff, others cannot. Especially if you're a certain hue. I know you say you want to focus on a person, but that's just the truth of it. Race plays a big part in every situation or topic in the world when you have opposing sides. And when I mean opposing sides, I mean people. And in regards to that, yes, dear, lean in, flip your chair.
He was riding high until allegedly he put his hands on someone. How is he being set up? He the one that allegedly put his hands
Diva, until it comes out in court, until we see everything, I'm residing judgment and I'm waiting for the full picture. Exactly. I'm not doing the same. I'm not about to do the same that I did with Jussie Smollett, where I was just like, oh no, Jesse. Oh, he could have done it. Then he ends up doing it. Let's lay it all out in the facts. Let's have all the information, everything to be seen, and then make a decision from there. But just on top of that, he also did an interview where he said something where he's like, I'm not playing this Hollywood game like that. He's like, I ain't going to no parties with nobody. I'm literally doing what I'm doing, and I'm in bed by 12. So I'm just saying, let's just look at every possibility.
Hold on, Smoke. Let's connect. You said Jonathan Majors said he's in bed by midnight?
That's what he said.
That's what he said. But guess what? The night of that DV, he was not in bed by midnight. That happened in the wee hours of the morning. It was past midnight, and he was out there doing something. And they said, you know what? Don't nothing good happen after dark when you in the streets like that. Matter of fact, go to Houdini. The freaks come out at night.
But that was okay.
I'm connecting with you, She 2000. everything. Not everything is about race. This man put his hands allegedly on somebody. So you mean to tell me they was waiting until he put his hands on somebody so they could go pounce on him? No. You know what?
How do you know they didn't set that woman up?
Sometimes what happens is when one victim comes out, everybody else gets the courage to say, you know what? Me too. That's how the Me Too movement started. Because one person got the courage, and then everybody else was like, whoo, nobody was going to believe me if I said something about him. But now that it happened to you, guess what? It happened to me too. She 2000, we're connecting tonight. We're on the same train right now. Thank you for your comment. Okay, let me move on, Smoke. I got to move to Savannah. Savannah, what are your thoughts on this situation?
Unfortunately, this young actor is the face of someone who's dropped the bag. He was when the U.S. Army pulled their ads for. He was the face of the promotions of the new Be All You Can Be. Once they pulled those ads, it became a domino effect, and all the new promotion.
We got a bad connection, Savannah. You're breaking up. I don't know, Savannah. Maybe you got to go out and come back in. You're breaking up.
And that military detraction was very rich, in as much as there are so many instances and allegations of abuse. Assault.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, I know. Hold on one second, Robin. Savannah, okay. Savannah, you're breaking up. You may have to drop out and come back in. I'm so sorry because we can't hear a word you're saying. E, let me come to you. What are your thoughts on this situation?
Okay.
E.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my turn?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't going to come on tonight, but I had to once I heard Royer and Sebastian. And Royer, I just put something in the chat for you a little earlier, my dear. Backstage. Let me tell you something. I am sick of people making excuses for these black kings. Sebastian started off his soliloquy talking about shame on everyone. No, shame on everyone last week who gave Don Juan the blues because then they say he was up in women's business. They didn't like the way he was talking to SUV, and they condemned Don Juan for the way he spoke to a woman. But now, this week, we have a man who has allegedly put his hands on a woman. And now we have all the empathy. We have all the sympathy in the world. And it's clear to me that people are picking and choosing who they want to relate to by how attractive they think they are. Don Juan gets berated week after week, but Jonathan Majors, we need to wait and see how the case plays out. And I heard Sebastian, and I love you, Sebastian. You're my brother. I love you. But Sebastian also said people are trying to destroy this black man. Good. Destroy him. Get him out of here. Leo said, have any black people come out and said if he is a sociopath? Well, somebody said it in the comments, but I had this written down to say also, if he doesn't hang out with black people, how can black people advocate for him? How can they say one way or the other? This man does not hang around black people, which would lead one to conclude he doesn't like black people that much. He thinks that he's better than you. And it's ironic how race loyal black men are to other black men, but how callous they are when it comes to black women and feminine black men. Let's call a thing a thing. Black men protect problematic black men all the time when it comes to things like this, when it comes to DV, when it comes to women's rights or anything of the sort. This is why it takes people so long to come forward. When somebody said, well, what's taking these people so long to come forward? Well, look at R. Kelly, look at Trey Songz, look at that. It's lots of people, lots of men have bad behavior and it's swept under the rug. And somebody said it could be due to money, but also looks talk. And Diva, I've said on your channel many of times, black men are sometimes intimidated by other black men and they don't want any smoke. So it's not unreasonable for me to believe that he's been problematic for a while and he needs to be stopped. We need to stop saying this man looks nice because there's nothing nice looking about him. It is nothing nice looking about a man who puts his hands on females. Let him look good on cell block 26D. He needs to be locked up. And stop making excuses for Black people from humble beginnings. I heard someone say, well, he had a tumultuous childhood and this, and this. Listen, he went to Yale, I heard somebody say. Is that right?
That's right.
Yes.
Acting school, yes.
Listen, cut it out. Do you know how many people from the hood with abusive or drug addicted parents, housing and food insecurities, who never smoked, never drank, never been arrested, and went to community college? When people say things like this, it is an insult to every Black man without a six-pack or acting talent who pulled themselves up by the bootstraps and made something productive of themselves. Stop it. This is just outrageous.
Thank you, E. Hashtag stop it.
But also, can we keep the
Thank
same
you,
energy
E.
for problematic
Leo
Black
said,
women?
thank you, E.
Hold on one second. I'm coming. Bedside BK, thank you for the super chat. He was in Brooklyn creating a whole show past midnight. I appreciate you. Thank
Can
you.
you look at
David, can I just make sure?
Hold on one second, please. I'm coming. Octavia, I'm sorry. Octavia, thank you so much for the super sticker. Truly appreciate you. Hold on one second, guys. Miss Thane, I never saw you before. You have to show your face and then I can let you up. Okay. Show your face, then you can put back on your off your screen, and then I can let you up, okay? Because we got to be careful in these YouTube streets, okay? So if you show me your face, I'm the only one that will be able to see it, then I can let you up. If not, I can't let you up. Okay, so listen, thank you, E, for your words. I'm going to let y'all respond really quickly because I got other stories to get to.
I'd like to go first.
It'll be quick.
Okay, quick. Go ahead, Sebastian, then Smoke. Go ahead, Sebastian.
Okay, first, I want to address the fact that she talked about Don Juan and this situation and said we were quick to judge.
Smoke, you're typing. Put yourself on mute.
Oh, sorry.
How we were quick to judge Don Juan. Primarily, what Don Juan did was a true proven fact. We saw it with our own eyes. This situation with the woman, we don't know if it's a proven fact or not because she's quit. We don't know. She retracted her statement and everything. But yeah, I do understand that some DV survivors do stuff like that.
Right.
But
well, yeah, because you're quick to come with the DV stats, Sebastian, because you just hit deeper with the DV stats 2 weeks ago. I was on the panel. So if you know that women are likely to recant their story and go back to their to the people who do this to them, what do you mean that we don't know if this has happened? It's more likely.
Well, listen, I'm going to say this: when you recant your story, you disincentivize every other person who has, quote unquote, suffered from said.
But that's not what you said to Diva 2 weeks ago.
That is not.
I said to Diva 2 weeks ago how most DV committers come from single parent households, and I stand on it, and I said it.
The train is shaking. Hold on, Smoke. What do you want to say? Because I got to go to the next time.
Oh, I'm gonna make this quick. So I just want to be clear. So E, you said we have to hold problematic Black men accountable. Was that correct? I just want to be sure. You said that, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so let's flip it on its head. Let's hold problematic Black women accountable because
wait a minute. Why are we flipping it?
I let you talk.
Why are we flipping it?
I let you talk. I let you talk.
Myself.
Let's talk about a problematic Black woman. Let's talk about what's the woman from Real Housewives of Potomac, the one who threw the drink on Wendy and hit her with the purse.
Okay, I don't want the hold on, stop. I don't want the train to go off the track.
It's not gonna go off the track, but it's just making a point.
Hold on, Smoke. I don't want the train to go off the track because I want to stick here, but we're about to move to the next stop. The issue is Jonathan Majors. The issue and the question on the table is there's other people saying that this behavior existed with him prior to this particular incident coming out. Just because, and this guy did tweet. Because people saying, why didn't somebody speak up? The guy tweeted a cryptic tweet because he probably didn't want to get choked up if he would have named who the person was. So he tweeted a cryptic tweet saying, listen, this rising star that y'all all loving on, he's problematic. Okay. And then when it came out that something happened and somebody else caught on to who it was and they asked him, then he went ding, 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 ding. So listen, people are afraid to speak. People are afraid to talk up. And listen, he's a man of a certain size. Okay, and if he's known to be running these streets terrorizing people, you're not going to be so quick to say, hey, you know, he's messy. So let's move on. I know it's a sensitive topic, and I hear everybody's opinion, but we're going to move on because I want the train to stay on the track. Okay, so let's move on to our next stop here, and our next stop here is we're going to talk about Jamie Foxx. Now, Jamie Foxx had an emergency. Okay, and Jamie Foxx had a medical emergency. They're being, kind of quiet about the medical emergency. I'm not going to get into that. I do want to get, that's right, Bernice, pull the emergency brake. Good gosh, okay? Miss Thane, I'm trying to tell you, I really want to let you in, but I have to see your face first, or else I'm not going to let you up on the panel. Because, I know the regulars that are coming, and I have to know who you are. I just see your face. I'm the only one that can see it. So anyway, and then you could put back on your muted screen, and then I'll let you up. So anyway, Jamie Foxx, he called Cameron Diaz out of retirement. You know why she retired? Because she was sick of Hollywood. She was sick of the negativity. She just wanted to live a nice, peaceful life and be happy. But he called her because he's friends with her. And he said, hey, Cameron, can you come and do this movie with me? And so Cameron said, okay. And then he got mad because everybody was, all over her on the set. Okay. They was happy to see her. So let's share this screen here. Let me share this screen. Hold on one second. He called on her. Okay. So Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx didn't see eye to eye before the hospitalization. He hated she being the center of attraction, okay? Everybody was just probably happy to see her. Calm down, Jamie, okay? They were just happy to see her because she was, in retirement for so long. So it says, it was meant to be a dream comeback for actress Cameron Diaz, who is set to return to the silver screen with Netflix film Back in Action alongside Jamie Foxx. However, the scandalous reports from the sets of Back in Action have reportedly made her rethink her retirement. Now, after all of that, she wanted to go back in retirement. Come on, Jamie. Okay? So, people say, why don't people talk up? People don't talk up because they really don't want to rock the boat. Okay, so according to a report on Radar Online, before Jamie Foxx was hospitalized due to a medical complication, he was not sharing happiest of moments with her with his handpicked co-star, and they weren't seeing eye to eye. Now Cameron has gone public with the idea of quitting showbiz again. She hates drama and confrontation. This is why she retired in the first place, the Sun reported. Radar Online quotes a source from the sets claiming Jamie has been throwing a lot of weight around, and sadly, Cameron's bearing the brunt of his foul moves. The source added, you think he'd be thrilled he convinced her to be in the movie, but he hates that she is the center of attention, okay? So listen, I'm going to stop it there because sometimes the jealousy monster, it turns people into a whole nother person. It gets a little messy. Okay, so how you gonna beg your friend to come out of retirement, do this movie with you, and then you gonna act all crazy? Now listen, the people at the movie set, they're a little messy too, because the party has to go on, filming has to go on. What they did was they are using the stunt double now, or his person now. They're using his person now. The person that was doing filling scenes for him, that person is now filming the rest of the movie. Okay. So his double on set is finishing up the film for him. Double fills in shoes on set while he remains in the hospital. Okay. So this double right here, I guess they filling it. I think it's messy. Okay. That's the double. That's Chris on the set. But listen,
looks good to me.
Yeah, Chris is doing what he got to do. Okay. Chris is doing what he got to do. So we wishing Jamie Foxx all the best. Okay. But stuff is going down with Jamie Foxx. I start on the bottle, Nikki. Nikki, it's nice to see you.
Oh, hi. This is you. Sorry.
Hey.
She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous, but we got a dope conversation going on here.
She's trying to take over mine.
Okay. What do you want to add to this conversation?
Well, stop, little monster. I'm sorry. Can you go to the next person and come back to me? I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, of course. Okay. E, what are your thoughts?
Sometimes it can be extremely challenging to share a professional space with someone who you are friends with or romantic with. And and just imagine this is, Hollywood, so it's more heightened. But we can even take YouTube. We've seen people who have been friends on YouTube, and then things take a turn. It's very, very hard to share a space and be the best you can be without being competitive with someone, who you have admiration for or love for to that degree. So I can definitely see it weighing down on that relationship, but I have to circle back to Cameron, because let your no's be no and let your yeses be yes. When you had your
Amen.
when you had the notion to leave, and it was too much for you, don't let somebody talk you back down the path that you already left and that you concluded in your spirit was not good for you. Because when you let somebody take you out of your comfort zone and take you back to the path that you got away from, it will never end up well. So, lesson learned. Let this be the last time you come back to Hollywood. Don't do any more retirements. Let this be the last one and be done with it.
I agree with you. So Bankstyle BK wanted to add that Jamie just lost his sister. And yes, and I know he was close to his sister. I know he was taking care of his sister. But you know what? We got to know our limits too as human beings, right? So if you know that you're not ready to go back to work, then don't go back to work. Don't go back to work. But what I can't do as a human being, because I'm impacting others, I can't have all of these issues and then go to work and tell people, oh, you got to deal with my issues because I didn't take my medication today. No, go home and take your medication, get your life together, and then show up to work. But you can't have everybody in your office or in your wherever you work walking on eggshells because you don't have your life together. That's not what we're doing. No, get your life together. We're going to pray for you, but stay home. But don't come here and mess up our mood and our life because you got stuff going on. Because the whole world has stuff going on. Everybody. You can't come over here messing me up because you didn't got your stuff together. Because I'm dealing with some stuff too, but I'm keeping it in my back pocket until I leave here. So you put yours in your back pocket, or you check it at the door, or you stay home, take a sick day. I don't know what you're going to do. Take leave. But don't be coming here impacting me with your stuff. Okay. Candy, yes. Go ahead. You can add. Go ahead. What do you want to add to the conversation?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Candy. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, was it me?
No, I meant to say you. I did say Candy, but I meant you. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I think a little bit of what you're describing and maybe some of what Miss E was describing sounds to me kind of like male privilege. You know, it's like you get to be a male, you get to show up no matter if you're black, white, Indian, whatever, you still get to show up as a man. And then, you know, when women do it, we automatically are lumped into something. But I also feel like sometimes, and I feel like this a lot about like celebrities, particularly like Kanye, where it's like, it's almost like you forget where you came from. You forget what it's like to be humble. You know what I'm saying? And that the world doesn't revolve around you. There's plenty of women in every shade or hue, whatever you want to call it, that standing at a bus stop in the rain, in the heat, in the whatever, with a baby in their belly, one in a stroller, one walking with them, and they still have the audacity to show up and be kind to people. So it's just kind of like, I want you to leave all of that. You know, I'm a celebrity and I should just be catered to, which is why I think people say don't buy into your own BS. But I think that kind of happens in a world that's full of fake, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's not a real reality. Even him being a movie star, that part of his life isn't real. He's playing someone else. But I just think it seems like male privilege to me, or just entitlement. That's what I wanted to add.
A mixture of all of the above. Now, LaDon Sweet Tea said Jamie had a deep problem. Really? That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. They're also saying that he admitted to it himself also. So that's what they're saying. Let me come up to you, Smoke. What are your thoughts on this Jamie Foxx situation? You're calling one of your besties out of retirement only for the foolery.
Go to someone else because I haven't been paying much attention to, so you can go ahead to the next person.
Okay. Julius, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I heard like from other ways that like, okay, yeah, he may be going through some things, but he probably has a little problem with the medicines.
Yes.
And so his anger was directed at Cameron in that way. But you know what? I also read in articles that yeah, Cameron is still gonna be his friend, but is giving him a little bit of the side eye right now.
Yeah. Because your friends can love you, but you know what? I can love you, but not want to deal with your mess and your messiness. And I thought you had it all together when you called me. You know, I was sitting over here minding my business, sitting at the fireplace reading my books, and I was done with Hollywood. And then you begged me to come do this movie with you because you know if you had another big name, it was gonna blow up. And then I get here and you mad because the people loving on me. Go sit down somewhere because I ain't got the time for all this. Now, Candy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I feel like it's probably a medicine situation that he was dealing with, because the thing is that when he's relatively young, basically, and from a nursing standpoint, people who are relatively young and they appear to look healthy, for the most part, they don't just suddenly end up in the hospital fighting for their lives. You know what I'm saying? I mean, granted, you could have like an aneurysm or something weird, but generally that normally does not happen. Normally they've been snorting something they shouldn't have been snorting, or they took something they shouldn't have been taking, and then you end up in the hospital, basically. And then another thing, it also could explain his behavior on the set too, because the thing is that as many movies as he's been in, just like that Jonathan, the guy we got through talking about, you hardly ever heard anything about Jamie Foxx being difficult to work with or being, a problem on the set or anything like that. So to me, it all points to he may have been doing something he shouldn't have been doing, and he got caught up, basically, unfortunately.
Yeah, all facts, right? All facts. Okay, thank you, Candy. Leo, what are your thoughts?
I remember watching Jamie Foxx on the R&B Money podcast, and it was like the first episode of that podcast, and it was on YouTube as well. And he admitted, he said, "Y'all, I'm an alcoholic," and so he was drinking like I've never seen we ain't talking about drink champs. I mean, he was drinking and saying things, and admittedly say, "Y'all, I'm an alcoholic." So, and then I go back to when the set first shut down initially. Remember, Diva, when it was like somebody stole my money?
Yeah.
And it was just like it shut the whole set down, and he was mad. This particular movie with Cameron Diaz, he shut the set down earlier on before he became sick. It all points to me of some type of problem. I'm gonna say that. Some type of problem. And I don't really think I don't really think that Jamie is the person that he was when he started out in Living Color. Right. I do believe he is privileged. I do believe he feels entitled. I do believe he felt a certain type of way when Cameron Diaz came on the set and she is the star, when he sees himself as the bigger star. She ain't got no Oscar. Let's keep that in mind. She ain't got no Oscar. So he probably did feel a way and did act out, and has had a medical incident happen because of whatever he been doing, whatever he been into. But I also feel like again, where is his people? Does anybody? His sister passed away. He may not have his people around him. He need to be put in check. That's what I'm gonna say. Somebody need to be checking on him. He needs to be put in check. Whatever it is he's getting himself into, whatever it is he's doing, he needs to get put in check. Somebody need to, a close person who really knows him. I hope his tribe has gathered around him. That's what I'll say.
You know what? So I did hear this, Black Panthers. Thanks for putting this out there. Didn't Tyler Perry and Oprah try to do an intervention with him? I did hear that. Don't know how true it is or is not. So here's the thing. An addict is an addict, even if the addict is filthy rich. So the thing is with addicts, they're not going to get around somebody that's going to try to help them if they don't want to be helped. And it's very ironic. He played, Ray Charles, and Ray Charles was an addict and he recovered. So, and then this Jonathan Majors, a lot of his characters that he played are very sinister. Okay. Kane from the Marvel movies, very sinister. The character he played in Creed 3, very sinister. I'm not saying anything with that, but I'm just saying something, right? So, and a lot of times we want to act as if the addict who is rich is different than the addict that's out on the street. The only difference is the money. And if they don't want to be saved, there was a lot of interventions allegedly done by Whitney Houston's mother. She tried. But Whitney Houston said, get out her face. And Whitney Houston even got pissed when the mother tried to take little Bobby Christina, because mama knew that Bobby Christina wasn't in a good environment. And Whitney Houston allegedly stopped speaking to the mom because she was like, you're not going to take my daughter. Nikki, you got to give me a minute because I got to get to others, okay? So, yeah, I'll come back to you. So it's messed up, but if somebody's not ready to be saved, they're not going to get saved. The first thing any rehab would tell you is, if the person don't want to go, we wasting our time. And we don't have enough beds to waste our time on somebody who really don't want to be here. Because your success rate goes up when you hit your rock bottom, not your family's rock bottom, when you hit your rock bottom. Maybe this was God's way of trying to help Jamie and sit him down. And maybe he can reflect and think through this time, and whatever he got going on, maybe at this time he can get the help that he needs. I'm hoping and praying so. Sebastian, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are this. We all know what the 7 deadly sins are, right?
Okay. Go ahead.
This conversation is going to get deep.
Oh.
Jealousy is one of them. Just letting you know.
Yeah, okay.
And if that's what has to come to Jamie, well, that's what happens when you're jealous of people. When you envy people and you have jealousy towards them because they're getting more attention than you, God may need to sit you down, either temporarily or permanently.
Yeah, but Bring the Mess TV, but he said himself he had issues with
He said it himself.
We're not just speculating this. He said it himself he had issues with substances. And whether it was alcohol or whatever, he said it himself that he was dealing with those demons.
On a Howard Stern interview.
But I want to say this, Sebastian. I don't want to go this route with this, right?
I'm not hoping that. I hope he.
We all fall short, right? We all fall short. And I'm just saying, when I said that, I'm talking about maybe the sit down had to happen, not because of his jealousy. Listen, there's a million people in the world that are jealous of people. I'm saying, I think it happened because, maybe God wanted to save his life. To help him understand, like, this is not going to end well if you keep down this wicked path with these substances and whatever else you are doing. You know what? Just not taking care of your body, eventually your body is going to give up. People, when we fall into diabetes, heart disease, this and that, it's all a result of, a lot of times, and some can be genetic. I don't want to generalize everything, but it's a result of sometimes of us just not taking care of ourselves the way we should. Stress will take you out quicker than heart disease and probably anything else. So they said he was stressed out on this set and a whole lot of other things going on. Let me move to Roya because I got another topic I really want to get to. Roya, what are your thoughts?
Is this the general thought of this whole situation altogether, or?
Yeah, it could be general. Okay.
Just general altogether. When this story first came out, I thought immediately that there was an automatic emergency situation going on, because the way that the media handled this just so delicately. TMZ handled this story so very delicately. TMZ ready just to blast your business out there, but they were very delicate with this story. And then his daughter got on Instagram and gave us another delicate story. But then, Diva, when I was doing my research, I had to go back to March of, last month, when they was talking about Jamie Foxx had a meltdown on set, you know, and Cameron Diaz didn't want to deal with the music, entertainment industry anymore. And so, you know, they spoke on the facts of, you know, someone allegedly on staff, you know, trying to scam him out of money. And so they had to take a 4-day break from filming because he had a meltdown. And that's when I knew then that there was something seriously going on, you know, substance abuse wise. Because who has a meltdown over somebody having to scam them? It could have been, you know, at 55. It could have been just as easy for us to call security and have them escorted off the set. You're Jamie Foxx, remember? And then so it just, to me, I feel a little let down because I grew up with Jamie, seeing Jamie on TV, watching the Jamie Foxx show with Aunt Helen and Fancy, you know, and Braxton, the whole cast. And I just feel like that he could have been honest with us about what was going on, because then we would have been able to uplift him in a positive way instead of people spreading stories about what's allegedly happening to him. So I just feel like they went about this whole situation the wrong way. As far as working with Cameron Diaz, you should have known the box that you were opening before you opened that box. People love this woman. And so when you brought this woman to your movie that you wanted her to work on, you should have been prepared to treat her as the guest that you asked her to be in your movie.
Amen. Black Panthers, you know what? Thank you for sharing. True facts, Diva. This is coming from a former addict, having spent 11 years using. By the grace of God, on May 11th, I celebrate 29 years clean. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, and amen. And can I tell you, I you know, I know a lot of addicts, and you know what? It is not easy. And just think about, you know, sometimes you know, we think about the actual physical, maybe, you know, DURG, you know, because YouTube, right? But a lot of us, you know, we're addicted to our coffee, we're addicted to our tea, we're addicted to sugar. And try to get off of those particular things and see how difficult it is for you. And then that would give you just a little bit of insight on someone who's addicted to the D's, to medicines. Okay, as Julius so eloquently said. So my thing is, I'll always have compassion, but if you're trying to save somebody, the truth will always set you free. You know, what was her name? I don't want to the Dabaj, right? Bunny. She said something that stick with me ever since she said it. Secrets keep you sick. Mm-hmm. When you want to hide, nobody can help you. If you go to the doctor and you don't tell them the truth that your leg been hurting for 3 years and you just now coming, they can't help you because they're going to think, okay, it just started, give it a minute. But in the meantime, you needed to tell them it was going on for 3 years. You can't get saved unless you want to get saved. Auntie Robin, what are your thoughts on this situation?
I'll be quick. The intervention that everyone is speaking of that happened for Jamie Foxx was called by Oprah, and it was staged at Quincy Jones's home. Tyler Perry was not involved. And Jamie Foxx, I recall him saying, I saw an interview, and he said after he won the Oscar, he was, as he called it, he was out in the streets, he was wilding. And Oprah sat him down and told him, don't blow it, chill out. And so that was one of his come to Jesus moments. I also want to speak to the fact that we want everybody to be open and transparent and share. But the truth of the matter is, everyone is not willing to share what they're going through, whether it's an addiction or an illness. And for various reasons, it could be embarrassment. I mean, people, I'm going to leave it there. And then when we talk about when someone has a medical emergency, Jamie Foxx, if you didn't know anything, if you heard no rumors, if you looked at him physically, like a lot of other people, they look well. If it's indeed a stroke, which is caused by high blood pressure, most often, you can look quite fine on the outside. So that how you look physically is not always foretelling of something, especially what we call a medical emergency. It's something that's not foreseen. And it bothers me also when we talk about people having illness and death, that there is no age attached to either necessarily. And I wanted to dispel that notion. Thank you.
You're welcome. And yeah, that is definitely true. Because my doctor called me skinny fat, meaning that what with my size and my cholesterol level and something else, like I ain't going to get into the whole detail because I don't want to get the train off track. We have to talk about that another day. So you are correct, there's many different levels to the things, but we're just saying some things when we have these conversations, it's in general. Bridget,
and one more thing, I'm sorry, I left that. I would like to co-sign E. Let your no be a no and your yes be a yes. The biggest mistake, if you make up your mind about something, and if it's true to your heart, don't let somebody else convince you otherwise, because you and everybody else will find yourself miserable.
That's true. Stimulants, Ritalin, Adderall, and more can cause heart problems, paranoia, delusions, and strokes. I've been a nurse for over 23 years, and an older doctor had me reading articles and researches. Oh, yeah, of course, that is true, right? And even, listen, if you look on something as simple as Tylenol, and you look on the back, it said if this, if that, stop taking, call 911 immediately, right? And everything is it acts differently in any given different body, right? One person may be able to take 10 Ritalin and survive. Another person may take 2 and they're done. You never know how things are going to interact with your body. And I do get it. Everybody has the right to their privacy, but I think sometimes I said this before, and I don't want to get the train too off the track here, that when you're a public figure, things become a little bit different. But I don't want to go down that path. I want to quickly go to this.
Diva.
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's yes, people have a right to privacy, but it's mixed messaging. If
Yes,
you want to keep it private, then everyone on your team should keep it private. Your daughter shouldn't even come out. Whether people are asking or not, let people wonder. Because when you give people a little inch of a story, then people are going to twist that and start speculating. Beyonce never answers anything. Just leave it out there. People will forget about it soon enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I really do. Diva, being as you a nurse, would you consider doing a segment on diseases that is common among our people, including a Q&A? I would do that. You know what? I would have to ask LB because she's a doctor. I would do that with more professionals on the panel, right? So I'm a pediatric nurse, right, by trade. And one thing, I like to say, when it comes to nursing, like we all know maybe a lot, hopefully, in our segment of nursing, but like even with a doctor, if you go to your general doctor and then it's something out of the scope of his area of study, they're going to say, I got to send you to the cardiologist, I got to send you to the podiatrist, I got to send you here, there, whatever. So I'm not one of those nurses that pretend like I know all be all. I know a lot about my area in peds. I would like to have a whole bunch of professionals on there, and I also happen to know a lot. Somebody please mute themselves. I also happen to know a lot on diabetes and that education, because it's crazy how there's a lot of kids that are diagnosed as diabetics, right? So we had to do a lot of teaching around that. But I'm also just personally getting into this whole idea, and I'm researching myself. I'm not becoming an expert on it. There's experts out there and I'm trying to tap into them. They said don't reinvent the wheel. I'm not trying to do all that. But I'm moving into this area in my life where I truly believe the foods that we eat impacts us on a high level. And I'm also believing, but this is just my belief, guys. I'm also believing that if we eat the right foods, all of these things that are going on in our body, diabetes, heart disease, this, that, and the other, can be reversed and healed if we do certain things food wise with our body. But I don't want
Diva,
to
can
go.
I tell you something? Can I tell you something, Diva?
Yes, you can, really quickly, and I'm
Okay.
gonna go into this next subject.
Diva,
Yeah.
if you ever have plans to like travel to Europe or something, you
Uh-huh.
should see. This is what you need to do. Take a picture
Mm-hmm.
of like an Oreo cookie box here, and then
Uh-huh.
if you do go to Europe, go and see an Oreo box there. See the
Mm-hmm.
ingredients. We have so much preservatives and so much sugar in our things compared to Europe, and it's weird because there's like multiple people making videos about this on the internet, how they've moved there and have lost 20 to 40 pounds within 1 and 2 months.
Yeah, we could do it here. You know what I mean? We could change our eating habits here, and you can also change your palate. Because I'm telling you, I was a huge, huge sugar head. Anything sweet, and I used to, my tea probably was sugar with a splash of tea in it. I mean, but let's get back on the track here. But Black Panthers, I will definitely look into doing something like that. That's a great idea. Because I think just as a community, as a people, as a whole, we got to learn to take better care of our bodies so that our bodies can take better care of us, right? Okay, so our next subject here is, we're off those two topics there. Jamie Foxx, praying for him and wishing him nothing but the best. Chi-Town, come on now, girlfriend. You doing it. Congratulations, okay? So the next story I want to go into is Twitch, right? Twitch, unfortunately, took his own life. And when he took his own life, he did not have a will. And some things we may think is automatic, that everything you leave behind may automatically go to your spouse, but it doesn't work like that. And it's so sad that right now his wife is dealing with the loss of her spouse, the loss of the father of her children. She has to help her children navigate this and herself all at the same time, and all while dealing with trying to figure out how to get all of the money in her estate that's due to her as a spouse, right? And so the bottom line here is, everybody, we always think there's tomorrow, but to the best of your ability, get your paperwork in order, because you want your loved ones to not have to deal with all of that on top of trying to mourn you, right? So let's just show her here. She had one daughter before they got married. Her name is Allison, and they said losing over 600K in royalties from DJ's Twitch boss estate. Okay. So there she is. Okay, so Allison is asking the courts to allow her access to Twitch royalties as the dancer passed away without a will. Okay, and so there he is. That's I want to say there's another kid too, so that may have been a picture before the other one. I thought it was 3 children altogether. That's her daughter from her previous relationship, and that's their son together. And I believe there was another one, and that's them there. The widow of Stephen Twitch boss is petitioning the courts to allow her to receive the royalties from his Boss Productions. According to the court docs obtained by the Blast, Boss owned 100% of his company. Well, God bless him. He owned 100% of his company, therefore acquired 100% of the royalties. Okay. And so she wants this money to come to her, as she is the surviving legal spouse with children with Twitch. Specifically, the petitioner is seeking to have all shares of stock passed and confirmed under the petition. Twitch also had an investment account with Goldman Sachs Investments, and she wants to gain control over that. So far, the compensation coming to Hoka is $600,000 from Boss Production Companies and another $26,000 from the dancers' Goldman Sachs investment account. So that's Twitch. He had no will. Okay. And soon after the dancer committed the S, it was noted that he didn't leave a will behind, even though he had been with her for 9 years and the two raised 3 kids together. Okay. The 40-year-old left behind the house one day without warning. He left the house one day without warning. So we all know what happened. I don't want to continue to read what happened because it just makes me so sad. The point is here that, he did not, leave a will. So there's his wife, just left behind to kind of fill in the blanks and, take care of all of this, right? And she loved them. If you go to her Instagram, I can't play this video because it has music to it, but it's such a touching tribute that she did to him. And, it's their kind of like their life over the years summarized. It's an amazing video. And I couldn't figure out how to mute it, so I can't play it for y'all. But you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. It's just so incredibly sad that he did not leave this will behind, and that now she's just fighting for everything, fighting the estate, fighting to just, get what's rightfully hers, and which I wish would have just came directly to her, but unfortunately is not. We'll start up top this time. Robin, what are your thoughts?
I'm sorry that she's going through this. Yes, it's true. We must go to somebody for your trust, wills, and estates. I'm
Uh-huh.
just confused. I don't feel convinced that this is wholly problematic as much as it is tedious. And while I have no information about the law in California and how it's applied, typically when you die intestate, your property goes to your next of kin. If in fact she can establish that she is his next of kin because she was his legal spouse at the time, then my understanding is that his property would transfer to her automatically. So I'm not sure if this is a matter of it being tedious, about her just having to go through the paces, or them just wanting to report something, because we're hearing just that. There's no discussion about there being other parties who are attempting to attach themselves to his property. So I'm hoping that it's just a long process of verification that she is in fact his next of kin and is the due owner of his properties and effects.
Mm-hmm. All right. Roya, your thoughts?
Auntie Diva, this story just really resonates for me personally. When this happened, this really pushed me to start my YouTube channel and to really speak positive and uplifting into people's lives, because never did we expect or see this coming from someone like tWitch, because he just played such a positive example in everything that he did. And so to see now that his spouse, who, was there for him, during these years together, cannot now access what she needs in order to be able to provide for the family that, he helped, take care of. It's a travesty. And unfortunately, a lot of it does have to do with the government, because they are so far behind on so much paperwork. After the pandemic and people being out of work and so many people passing away, in these government jobs, a lot of our senior people of life, they held those positions. And so when the pandemic happened, a lot of them, kind of passed on with the pandemic. And so it left a lot of positions to be filled and a lot of people to be taught what to do. And so it's just a really big travesty that she's having to fight as the wife of this individual who lost his life tragically, so hard to gain what's rightfully hers, in the first place, because they are married. But also it makes me wonder, sometimes when people pass away in this manner, sometimes insurance companies and businesses and courts sometimes question, you know, how everything went down. And not to say that this is their situation, but sometimes they question, did he do this on purpose so that you could, or, just different situations. So it could be a lot of things, that has this weighing in the balance as far as her and, being able to provide for the family. But I would definitely be praying that those doors are open. And I'm
Yeah.
praying, for their family, because this is still fresh. This is still very fresh. And then
Mm-hmm.
to still have to deal with his, the things that he left unprepared. I'm sure that it's even more of just raising 3 children and still trying to deal with your own emotions and then deal with this. Prayers to her family and her, his wife.
Definitely prayers. And you know what?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I love to see them dance. It put a smile on my face too. And they just seem, as a couple, when I would see their little videos when I was scrolling through the Instagram, just so cute. So cute. They was always dancing, always seemed so happy. Just an amazing couple. And it always breaks my heart when people feel like there's no other answer but that answer to do that to themselves. It's like, I always think to myself, joy comes in the morning. I don't want to go too far down that path, but
Can
Shabbat,
I say something really quickly before you go? Just
yeah,
really quickly, something that Royer said. When someone takes their own self out, the issue then is typically with their questions. It has to do with life insurance, and life insurance policies very often have clauses that prevent a payout if that's the cause of.
right.
Okay, that just so you know.
Uh-huh. Sebastian, your thoughts?
Hi. So I did some research on this while you guys were talking and stuff, and I was seeing how it works in California. She should be able. I hope she does get those payments. She should be. You should be able to inherit royalty payments, but we don't know how, I didn't do research on how probate works in California. This is very crazy that this is all happening. And this is another thing. A lot of people don't like when you're young, a lot of people don't think about wills. They don't think about any of these things. But like the first thing you need to do after you get married, this is gonna sound wrong, but you need to get a will. Once you get married, you need to make a will. Once you're expecting a child, you need to update said will. Once that child is born, you need to update said will. Every time you have a child that's going to be on the way, you need to make a will. You need to re-update said will. That's how it works. Like every little everyday thing that could change, like your fortune and stuff like that, you need to do this. But when you're suffering with these type of illnesses, you're not thinking that. So
Yeah, but you know what though, Sebastian, that is good comments you made. But also, when you're single, you need a will. Chadwick Boseman
Right.
not having a will
yeah,
as well. Chadwick Boseman, his wife, she was very kind. She shared the money with his parents, and she didn't have to, but she had to wait and go through some stuff too. Okay, because he didn't have a will. They went through some stuff.
they
What is
weren't married, Diva.
they did get married.
Are you sure?
Well, Google it for me. I really
Yeah.
thought they got
They
married.
did. They did.
Because yeah,
They
he knew.
did.
He knew.
Yeah,
Okay.
they
Yeah,
did.
he knew, and he married her because he didn't want her to have any trouble getting his stuff.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and she shared the money with his parents. Now, how much I don't know, but I know the last I read, she had shared, and that's what I said. She's a good person. She shared that money with his parents. Aretha Franklin, no will. It took forever for her stuff to go through. Prince, no will. It took forever. Leo, what are your thoughts?
And again, I do concur with you, Diva, that even if you're single, because I'm in a relationship, but I'm not married. And so
Right.
within assets, you still have to have preparations. You have to have prepared place. You do have to make preparations. And I think within California, I'm right there with Robin. It's probably tedious because she may not understand how to do probate, and it's also because he does have money and continuous money still coming in. Most likely there's probably some estate tax that maybe have to be paid because arrangements haven't been made to put money in a trust, so she wouldn't have to pay estate tax. It's probably a tedious thing that she's never had, because I don't know about the panel. But when you deal with the death of a close family member, you stay at the courthouse if you don't have a will. If
Mm,
something is not put in place, you stay at the courthouse. If you have not ventured into this and never have, she's probably lost. And the whole thing saddens me because she probably don't know who to trust, who to let into her finances to guide her through it. And she may have just been speaking on the tedious nature of going through the process of finances when there is no will. Even though on the surface, yeah, she's the wife, she is entitled, she is probably going to be able to manage those finances in the end, but there is a whole bunch of stops before you get to the end of that when someone passes away, especially your spouse, and they have money. It does, and you don't know who is asking for what that's supposed to be paid, and the insurance company. So it's just such a sad, sad, sad. It breaks my heart to just to know that this person that she must have never even thought that would do the S word in any scenario in her mind, and then have to deal with that. It's probably very, very, very challenging in California, because the state gonna want their money too. The federal government gonna want their money too, especially if there's no path that's been set up.
100%. Newbie Mahogany, yes, you're right. And you don't think very well after a loved one has passed. You sure
Nope.
don't. You
No.
sure don't. You sure don't. Somebody said, didn't it take 12 years for James Brown to say, I
Oh
don't know.
Lord. And
That's
Yes,
I
it
just
took
saw another
something like that. Yep.
oh wow.
I just
That's
saw another thing, Diva, where like
yes,
royalty payments are only affected 7 years for 7 years after the said person passed. So I hope this thing could work out well for this woman because it's just gonna be sad.
it's gonna be sad. Candy, your thoughts? Are you there, Candy?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just want to say, like, from kind of a personal experience, like I had a very scary health scare. To the point where, like, I was facing my own mortality. And the thing is that, the weeks prior, I'm healthy, nothing's going on, don't have a will, don't have anything. And the thing is that you just don't know.
Facts.
You really don't know. And so I feel like as soon as everything kind of checked out and I'm good again, like the first thing I did was I called my mom and I was like, well, Mom, what lady did you use for your will? Because even though I'm not married, I don't have kids, I still don't want to put my family, if something were to happen to me, I don't want to put my family through anything to make them have to cause even more stress as far as, trying to figure out my house and my savings accounts and my stuff like that. So you don't have to be a celebrity or be like a millionaire to have your stuff together, because the fact of the matter is that if you have a spouse, if you have kids, even if you're single and you have, say, a home, you want, if something happens to you, the people that you leave behind, you want to make it as drama free and as less stressful as possible, because it's already going to be a horrific time. So you want to do everything you can to like not make it even more stressful, basically. So long story short, just get your stuff together.
That part. Julius, you are correct. Get your stuff together. Julius.
It's always good to be prepared because we don't know the hour or the date or the way.
Come on.
Come on now.
Come on now. You know what you come up with, you be saying a few words, but your words be mighty and on point. I'm trying to tell you. Amen. Amen.
It's just, you just gotta think. Especially in these times. Cause we could just be walking in the store. Like, and we don't know if we're coming out or not.
That part.
You just got to think, and that's why I said it's better to be prepared, because we don't know the hour or the date or the way.
Amen.
Mm.
Amen. And you said enough. Thank you,
All
Julius.
right.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a terrible situation, and like I've seen it too many times that when people pass on, the aftermath for the family is just so difficult to reconcile or straighten out, and sometimes it brings the absolute worst in people, especially when there are finances kind of just dangling in the air. And so even like I tell my mom, I was like, listen, I'm the youngest of three, and she's my only survivor. I was like, sis, whatever you have for me and my sisters, please put it in writing, because we ain't about to do no fighting and jiving with each other. I would not want to do that. So I think like this is just an important lesson just for anyone. And even you're saying, if you're single or if you're with someone, just have your stuff in writing, so there's no ifs, ands, or buts of what this person would have wanted or what should be done. So it's clear, like, this is how I want my will and testament to be, and keep it moving. But I hope that she is able to at least have something to, take care of her and her children with.
I'm hoping that she can keep her house. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm hoping
Yeah.
that it doesn't take so long that she has to sell her house, move, and all of that. That's my prayer for her. Ladom Sweet Tea, she said, I just Googled James Brown probate, and it took 15 years. That's insanity. And she doesn't have that type of time. James Brown, 15 years. She don't got that type of
All
time.
the kids will be grown by then. She won't have no need for it.
How much was it stay for?
Yeah, I'm just saying that's just one example how long his took. The way he passed as well. Why wouldn't you make sure your family was okay, especially your children?
Oh.
You know why though? Write a letter to self and notarize it for now until you get the funds for a will and a trust. Thank you, Kat.
Period.
Thank you,
Well,
Kat.
that's good to know.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you for that information. That's a good
I
idea.
am a notary here in North Carolina, so if you need that notarized, just hit me up.
Actually, I think Curves
Okay, hold on.
literally.
Okay, she does it too. Hold on one second. I'm Sebastian. Best IBK, a will is important. Writing down your passwords too. You are absolutely correct. Go ahead. Sebastian. You said Curves do it too. Maybe we have to have a
Curves does life insurance, but she also has this linked like make your own will. Like you just answer the questions and everything, and then the whole site just makes a will for you.
I spits it out. I like that. Thank you. We have to talk to Curbs about that. All right. So who didn't get to talk on this subject yet? Let me come down to E. Yeah, and thank Best IBK, thank you for the super chat. Truly appreciate it. Yes, good information there. Yes, go ahead, E. What are your thoughts?
Well, I can already see the comments now. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like. I'm just gonna say it. Y'all know me by now. Listen, you wasn't married to a black woman, so I don't care what they do with the money. Like I said it. I mean, listen. As far as we knew, I could have sworn that they said that, or somebody put it out there. I think it was Columbus Short about him losing all his savings and what have you. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Maybe that's why he didn't put anything in writing. Maybe it wasn't anything to put there. I don't know. But them kids will be fine. She will be fine. And for me, it's just an internal conflict. I can't sit on a public platform and advocate for, black wealth to reverse back to. I can't do that. No comment.
All right, no comment. Thank you, E. Okay. Please hit the like button, people. Okay, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Nikki, what are your thoughts on this situation?
So I just wanted to say, I know every time I come on here, I mention that I work at a psych hospital.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to just throw this in there. I think it's difficult for people to really comprehend or really fully understand like how mental illness impacts a person. And with all my credentials and whatever else, I still every day when I'm in that hospital am surprised and shocked every single day about things that they say. And I clearly know what psychosis is, from working there. And I just wanted to say this too. We have lots and lots, probably more than anybody, people who have depression. And people think depression looks a certain way, and it doesn't necessarily look a certain way, especially clinically diagnosed depression. Bentley, stop. I'm sorry, that's my dog again. But the last thing I wanted to say, because Bentley, stop. Sorry. That's my dog. Is that I think about, I tell even some of the patients that sometimes, what's that lady's name? Oh, I can't remember her name. Kate Spade. I don't know if anyone knows who she is, but she has this.
I do.
I
know who she is.
All things Kate Spade, because it's girly. But I bring her up to just, show the correlation. She was wealthy. She was self-made in terms of her business. People loved her outfits, clothes, purses, accessories, and all of that. She was seemingly smart and full of life. And yet she still committed suicide. So you never know. Huh?
You can't say the word, but yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You're fine.
So it often, unfortunately, when people are getting ready to, when they're thinking about it or planning it, they often give away all of their items. They often are very extremely happy. So when their loved ones find out, it's such a shock because they present it at the end because they feel a sense of relief, if that makes sense. So anyway, I just wanted to add that to it. And I just think that if we had more knowledge, I feel like a lot of celebrities, especially those that are struggling or have people in their family that are struggling with, any type of mental distress, I think it's getting easier. And also it's getting easier for people to talk about it and access it. Because now you can do it like on your cell phone, if that makes sense. You don't have to go to an office and you don't have to. So anyway, I just say live out loud. And it's very tragic what happened to this person. And I don't know, I like the idea of having a will, but I feel like, and I know it sounds very much like how people, when they talk about prenuptial agreements, it sounds like you're already starting with the end in mind. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me, but I would still want to have a will, just because of the reasons that everybody already stated. So that's all.
Absolutely. Thank you for your comments. Sin City from Nola said derailment. We got the train on track here. We got the train on track. Yes, there's so many people, right? It was her, but I want to say Kate Spade's husband did it too before her. You could Google that and just remind me, but I really want to say that I think of first her husband and then her. No.
She had a husband. She left behind a husband. My recollection.
I think she blamed her husband in her last message. She basically blamed him for what she did.
Okay, I don't know why I thought it was something with her husband too, but yeah, either way, very sad. Yes, and Robin Williams. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Do you know
Yeah, I
the
love Kate Spade. Listen, the dress I wear 99% of the time when I'm doing an interview is Kate Spade. I usually wear that same dress. I'm just telling y'all the truth here. It's my Kate Spade. I love Kate Spade. I really do. I remember
most
when she
dangerous
took
type
her
of
life. Yeah, it's just very sad. But there's countless people that have the what was it? Was the Miss America very young? Remember she recently did
Chesty
it?
Chris.
That was
Yeah.
very sad.
Yep.
It
Yep.
was very sad and shocking and shocking.
Shocking.
And the way she did it was so violent too.
Very violent. It was like,
scary.
I'm done. That was like, for real, I'm done. You're not going to be able to recover me. I'm not coming back. Yeah. So very sad. Now I'm going to end this and we're all going to give our final thoughts on this. There's a lot going on with this. You know, the recent story of the young, child, young boy who went to pick up his twin brothers. He rung the wrong doorbell. The man came out, 84 years old. Did it?
Oh, Diva, you doing it to us? Oh no, go ahead.
And did unfortunately the pow to the boy's head, but then tried to do it to his chest. The only thing that saved the boy in his chest, his arm was there. So, and this family now, they're like, I don't care, and I don't blame them. They like, I don't care that this man is 84 years old. They want this man to spend the rest of his natural life behind bars. And they also said that, you know what? They're mad because the police did not take this seriously initially. Okay. So that's the young man. Family says life in prison is fitting for the 84-year-old person that did this to this young man. And God bless him that he survived. He was meant to be here. So the family of Ralph says justice can be served by locking up the 84-year-old person who did that for the rest of his days and forcing him to financially support the Kansas City teen's future. Ralph attorney Lee Merritt tells TMZ the Yarl family sees life in prison as the appropriate punishment for Andrew Lester, the man charged with pow-powing Ralph after he mistakenly rung Lester's doorbell. He also says all of Lester's assets should go into a college fund for Ralph. On the top of that, the family's calling on Missouri to implement more robust hate crime laws that could be applied in situations like Ralph. They also want the Department of Justice to perform a review of the KC, Kansas, I guess that's Kansas, is that Kansas City? Police Department to assess possible internal racial biases in its practices, noting they don't think the department took the incident seriously enough at first. This is the man. That's his mugshot. Okay. Now, as you know, Ralph was in the head twice by Lester last week. Twice.
Once.
Okay.
Once we had once
not in the head. Was pow twice by Lester, including once in the head. And police said Lester claims he thought Ralph was trying to break into his home. Lester surrendered to cops Tuesday, the day after he was charged with 2 felonies, assault in the first degree and armed criminal action. The lawyer says Ralph's head injury damaged a part of his brain that handles emotions. That's so sad. So he's been struggling with controlling them since the ordeal. So sad. We're also told the family's looking at possibly the possibility of a lawsuit against Lester as well as the city, because they had to fight so hard to get Lester charged and arrested. So, you know, I don't want to throw this off track. This happened here, right? And they had to fight so hard to get this man charged and arrested. That just gives you insight as to how difficult it is for the Shanquilla family to get anything done, and it didn't happen here. This happened here, and they're fighting to get this person charged and arrested. They had to fight, okay? They spoke to Ben Crump, who's representing Ralph family, about how the teenager narrowly avoided death, and he echoed the notion that Lester's been undercharged. I can't play that again because that has some music in there too. Y'all could go to this article, look at this young man, and all he was trying to do is be the good brother and go pick up his twin brothers from where they were at. and it's so incredibly sad. Okay, so I'm going to stop the screen there, the share. We're going to go around. This is what we're closing out with tonight. So I'll start at the bottom and work my way up to the top this time. Nikki, what are your thoughts? Are you there, Nikki?
Oh.
Okay, we lost Nikki. E, what are your thoughts?
Yes, this is what I want to talk about. Power to the people. That 84-year-old man, he needs to be buried alive. Now, that's a life insurance policy I want to talk about. He should be made to increase the amount and sign it over to that Black family. He stole a diamond from our community.
Yeah.
First of all, that boy, I think he was 16 years old.
He's
Correct me if I'm wrong. He had greatness all over him. He was
Yep.
beautiful.
Yep.
And I'm not a prophet, but I am intuitive to a certain degree. And he had a calling over his life, in my opinion. And you can tell that his Black parents were raising him, good Black boys, not just him, the two brothers too. Just beautiful family. And in all his pictures, you don't see him throwing up gang signs, pants taken off, nothing stereotypical. Like, come on, somebody knock on the wrong door and you come to the door with weapons of mass destruction. Come on, this is unreal to me. And I was watching The View, shout out to All the Smoke, and they were talking about the de-escalation period, you know, because if you feel unsafe and you don't know who's at your door, don't answer it. It's not like the boy was trying to break in. He wasn't trying to come through the window. I mean, come on, he was in the wrong neighborhood. It can happen to anybody. And I agree, the parents should definitely sue the city, because you should not have to fight this hard to get charges to stick, because it's not like they were unsure of what happened. We have a confession. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we have to fight the justice system to work the way it's intended. And this is what I wish we would talk more about. This system is not created for us. And so we have to put things in place. I know somebody said a while ago when I made my previous comment, it shouldn't be about color. It shouldn't be. And everything is not about color, but this is. This is about color. And I just hate that happened to that boy. I'm telling you, every time I see his picture, I get teary-eyed, because it's just not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's very sad, but you know what? He is meant for greatness, and I'm praying that greatness is still going to happen, and that's why he's here. Because when you survive that young in the head and it did not go in your chest.
But think about I hate to use this word, the trauma that comes along with that. And for and Diva, I can say this to you as a Black mom, and you have a Black son. When you are raising your sons in a community that is multicultural, with people who don't look like them, because we have to be honest, a lot of the schools that we aspire to send some of us aspire to send our children to, it's diverse. And so we put our children in these schools with people who do not look like them. And then when something like this happens, we have to teach them how to trust people who have violated them, you know, who technically do not see the world the way that some of us older people do, you know, because I can have a jaded sense when it comes to these little microaggressions. I'm hypersensitive when it comes to race relations. To have to go to, I don't know, because you had, the only reason you would have your son picking up your other children is because you needed help. And so now you can't even send your 16-year-old. What about the two youngest ones? Do you get what I'm saying? It's like this will traumatize a family forever, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean, Diva? Or do you think I'm reaching?
No, I do understand what you mean. And Claire, you're right. If you're that scared, get a Ring doorbell. I mean, come on, there's so much technologies these days. And you just got to be like, why are you here?
Sign over that life insurance policy.
Yeah, why are you here? It's very sad. It is going to be traumatizing for him. I just pray. I'm praying for this young man. I'm praying for his family. And I'm praying that this thing turns around for him. And like they said right now, it's a part of his brain that where he doesn't even know how to control his emotions. This is so sad and not right. But I'm praying that God kept him here for a reason. and that he will be an example,
And
and
see,
that things will turn around.
I apologize, Stephen, because when I was watching The View, I got the impression that things I didn't realize he
But yeah,
survived.
he's home. He's home. He's
Okay.
home and recovering with his family. Um, it's just
But
sad.
see, that was the spirit
Yeah.
keeping him here. Like you said, he's meant to do great things, and it's something that he's yet to accomplish
Yep.
that this world needs to see happen. And we have to turn this thing around. And I know you have to move on to the next person, but the last thing is we've had too many occurrences with these pow pows
Yep.
just this year alone.
Yep.
And I know the president, oh, I don't want to say that. I know that, we have people who are trying to push for reform and change the laws in this country. And this is something very near and dear to me because these things that come out of these pop house don't have names on it. And it can happen to anybody. You could be minding your own business. You just never know. And we need reform. I know everybody feels like they need their pow pows, they need protection, they never know, but no, everybody doesn't need one. And you should have to take a class for it, and you should have to get a license, and it should expire around a certain time, and you should have to get recertified, or they take your weapons away.
The crazy thing is, you got to go through all of this just to drive a car, but you could just go buy one of those.
Hmm.
I don't get it. Leo, what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna just say this because it's broke my heart, and I do appreciate the way the media has called him a young boy. He
Yeah.
is a young boy. He is 16 years old, and I'm gonna say this as well. Black Lives Matter, and I'm gonna say Black Lives Matter because Black Lives Matter too. It's not just about exclusion; it's about inclusion. This person, this man saw him and seen him as a threat, and we walk around and we as our sons and our daughters walk around seeming as a threat. That was a baby. If you look at his picture, he's nothing but a baby. How do you see this young boy as a threat enough? Not only he shot through the glass door, he shot through the glass door, and then he stepped out of that broken glass and tried to shoot him in the chest. Tried and caught him in the arm. And I'm also going to say the proliferation of weapons in this country is outrageous. And also with the charging documents, they initially was not going to charge this man. Let's keep it clear. It was Kansas City, Missouri. They were not going to charge this man. They brought him in. Within 2 hours, they let him go. It was the voices of the people.
Yeah.
It was the voices of the people that made him be evaluated and investigated, and it had to bring about charges. And I speak on everyone that's listening, that's paying attention. Politics is local. Policies that are in place are based on the local government and municipalities. You need to pay attention who your DA is, who your prosecutor is, whether or not they're voted into office. You need to pay attention to who your city council and your commissioners are in your city. We have to pay attention. I vote early and often. You need to pay attention. I did not know Royale was in North Carolina, but Leo is in North Carolina too. And we're going to have to hook up because you have to pay it. Policy governs everything that we do in our everyday lives. And everyone needs to pay attention to the people who govern over you and who create policy.
I want to thank you, Leah. I just want to get back to Ralph for a minute. And Paige, thank you for this information. It really saddens me. Here's a quote from his mom. Yarl is able to communicate when he feels like it, she said. But mostly he just sits there and stares, and the buckets of tears just roll down his eyes. That's sad. That's very sad. I'm praying I'm. Ooh, this is heavy. That's sad. Um, and it's not fair and it's not right, and it's some things we'll never understand. I I'm one to think that you gotta start with I when people are so emotionally unstable, I don't understand why we feel the need to that these people should have a right to carry a weapon. Um, this is sad because if he never had a weapon, this kid wouldn't even be going through this right now.
It's the proliferation of weapons. There are more weapons on the street in the US than there are people.
Yes.
And people make permanent decisions on temporary feelings. This man, if he didn't have a weapon, would have just screamed through the door, "What you want?" And that would have turned this whole situation into just a regular, "Oh, I got the wrong door." But he had a weapon, and he might have been legally able to purchase this weapon. But in our society, it is now here in our present in 2023. Everybody needs to have a weapon. Everybody needs to have a gun. Somebody needs to have one. Everybody needs to have one. It's the proliferation of these weapons that are here in our society, and it's too late to turn back. We have to create policy where people have to have other restrictions, at least being trained, something. We have to create policy, and that means people need to start voting for the people whom they want in office, regardless of whether or not the person wins or
you know
not.
what, Leo,
Keep going.
you know what, we can have a whole nother conversation on that. I just want to get back to this young boy for a minute. Prayers out. Everybody just pray for him and his family. And my thing is, we always with these situations, we wrap it around votes, and I'm not in disagreement with that. But I want to say this: there's not enough people even that we can vote for that are going to push our agenda forward in the first place. So I think it starts beyond the vote. But I don't want to go down that path at this moment. That just truly took me in a whole nother direction, Paige. Thank you for that information, but it literally broke my heart even more. I didn't understand personally. I'm gonna be honest with you. When they said he was already home, I was in shock. Because I'm like, wow, that's very traumatizing to the head and almost to the chest. But knowing he's just
But his mother is a registered nurse, and his aunt is a registered therapist. So that's the reason why he was able to go home.
But I don't feel like that justifies it, regardless of whether or not whoever is what. This individual was was powed in the head. In the head. Not only was he powed in the head, but was powed at a second time. A young black man, innocent. I'm not falling for the joke and the trick that this man didn't understand.
That man wanted to send a message.
This was racial. This was a racial situation. The cops arrested this man. Legally, by law, they can hold people up to 24 hours until they decide to press charges. But you decided to snap his mugshot and let him go after 2 hours. This screams racial injustice. This screams, I don't like black people. Because what was the problem with you as an 80-year-old man opening up your door and saying, how can I help you? What was the problem as an 80-year-old man yelling if you didn't feel comfortable at the door, how can I help you? There's no justification. And so now I believe that this young man is going to be a miracle. He is going to be proof that Jesus still is alive and real and that the Holy Spirit exists, and he's going to be brought back to his full potential. But it shouldn't have to take all of this if we were actually real about what we deal with here in our society. Let's bump the pow-pows out the way. We are still dealing with racial profiling in the year of our Lord 2023, something that we have been fighting since before the beginning of time.
Oh,
the hospitals didn't even care enough to hold this young boy in the hospital to ensure that everything, mentally, physically, emotionally, because the hospital is just not a physical, it's a physical, mental, and emotional place of healing.
And the family may not have ever felt like the hospital was a safe place for him. So you got to also too remember his mental and his emotional and his spiritual, and they may be able to cultivate that better than being at the rules of the hospital. They may have moved the facility and the things that he needed to the home. So I trust his mom and I trust his people to take care of him before, as well as medical professionals.
I'd like to go next.
I want to go order Roy. I'm Sebastian. Just give me a second because you're going to be after this. The GoFundMe tops 2.8 million. God bless.
Oh, thank you. Oh,
so
thank you.
I will say this. You know, like I said, I did peds, and I was not one of I'm one of those nurses. When it came to my son, we going to the hospital. I'm a urgent care queen. They know my name. You know, when you're emotionally attached to a situation, that doesn't mean it's every nurse, because his mom, you know, could be different and the aunt or whatever. But I think if it's on this level where he's sitting home and all he does is sitting there, he's crying and staring, I think it's beyond the realm of his mom as the nurse and his auntie as a therapist.
Mhm.
I feel like it needs more intense care and therapy with some professionals that have dealt with this and that understand how traumatized he is. And it's breaking my heart. I'm gonna hurry up and speed this up because I promise you this is choking me up, because it's like because like I said, it didn't sit well with me that he went home so quickly. It is not sitting well with me now. And I'm not doing any judgment. I want everybody to understand it. It's not sitting well with me now. I can understand like how you want to take somebody home, but I do know that when you're going through your own trauma yourself and you got two other kids in the
That's true.
home,
That's true, Diva.
that you have to, you know, deal with and help still live a normal life and understand that, you know, your brother was picking you up. This is not your fault. That, you know, they got a whole bunch going on in those dynamics right now.
And he
They
still
do.
doesn't even
And
know
it
what.
needs some objective care. Somebody that's not in the situation.
But he still doesn't know what happened to him, and he doesn't know why. He left one day and then he came back home. He doesn't know why that happened to him.
It's a lot. Candy, what are your thoughts?
I just pray that, you know, he returns like to full recovery, but I hope that that man that did this, I hope he spends the rest of his life in prison, and I hope that the family, you know, gets the biggest lawsuit against the police in the state for the way they treated this whole situation. And I'm just hoping that, you know, with hopefully like with possibly like speech therapy and physical therapy and like a for real therapist to come in to help, because you can't leave that situation without having some kind of like post-traumatic stress or post, you know what I'm saying? I think it's so soon that it's really hard to say like where his brain is and everything, because it just happened. But hopefully over time, you know, he may be able to get back to where he was before or very close to it, because he still has like a young brain, and you know, and hopefully, you know, it'll come back. But I just hope that the family just sues everybody, honestly. And I hope that man stays. I hope he dies and rots in prison, honestly.
Yeah. So Art Rose said I wouldn't want my child in a rehab facility either. I want to, but we'll have a separate conversation about this. I want to let everybody know every police is not bad. Every doctor and nurse is not bad. Every hospital is not bad. Every rehab is not bad. There are some amazing facilities out there. There are some amazing nurses, doctors, surgeons, therapists that really went into the profession and truly care about the healing and the whole person. I worked for a Catholic hospital when I was in peds, and the great thing about working for the Catholic hospital is you was allowed to pray. Matter of fact, over the loudspeaker they would have a morning prayer. And there's this one pediatric surgeon, and it's not a whole lot of pediatric surgeon, at least not in the state of New Jersey. There's one pediatric surgeon. I promise you, this man. As a matter of fact, he wrote a book called My Life with God. Name is Dr. Gallucci. So I'll say his name because he actually wrote a book, right? His name is Dr. Gallucci. He wrote a book, My Life with God. And when I tell you this man, a praying man, and he will come in the room and talk to them parents and said, I'm going to do my part when I go in this operating room, but I need you to pray.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Pray for your kid. Pray for me. And he would pray, and he would have candles in his house for all of his patients. So all I'm saying is that, I want us to, it's so sad. And Kat said in social workers too, I do agree with you, Kat, in social workers too. So it's so sad that because our world is loose to sensationalism, and when we see the news, we only hear the bad things and about the bad people in every given profession. But there are some really amazing people out there who study that thing, they love that thing, and they care about the people that they're trying to help. And I think that no matter how many people can physically come to that house and through that door to help them, I think that to be in a facility or rehab where they have a schedule and constant people there to help, and the parents can stay there too, right? And they also help the other children to understand the trauma that their sibling went through, and how we all live in a different existence that this moment, but we can rise up and I'm emotional. Sebastian, say your final words because we got to go.
Okay, this situation, it's very hard because like this kid comes from a good home, two working class parents, um, had a bright future and everything, and he just happened to ring on the wrong doorbell. As an everyday individual, you probably can do that. It's not the first time people get lost in this world. It's not the first time, and it will never be the last time people get lost. And for you, an 84-year-old man, an 84-year-old man, that means you have the knowledge of an 84-year-old. You know, you could just like open the door and ask, "How may I help you?" Or you could have told him, "Get off my property." But no, you decided to use something that could have costed him his life. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. I need politicians to do better, and I'm not gonna even say what type of politicians. Is both sides. They both need to do better. This 84-year-old man, he does need to be behind bars, and I do think his life insurance policy should most definitely be going towards this kid's future. I don't care what it goes towards. It could go through rehabilitation, education, or whatever. It just needs to go to this kid's future because this is unfair. This is absolutely unfair. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
It's just crazy. It's very sad. Smoke, I want you to go up next, but just give me 1 second here. This is a pediatric surgeon, Dr. John Gerard Gallucci, that I work with. And his book is My Life with God. It's an amazing book. It talks about his journey of him being a pediatric surgeon, but definitely a believer in God. All I could say is that, you know what? There's amazing people out there, and we're praying for Ralph. Smoke, what are your thoughts?
Mm-mm. I don't even know what to say at this point. Like it's just become such a constant occurrence that it's almost like I'll speak for me. I become desensitized to it because it's always like this is normal for people who look like me. So, um, yeah, it's just we have to do better for each other. Like it should be no reason that someone's life is that expendable or close to being expendable that easily. And yeah, just sending well wishes to his recovery, that he, whatever was destined for him, he still will achieve it and make it a reality despite this setback.
Mm-hmm.
And for that man, whatever that that hooligan, well, no, we'll go one better. That thug. There's a special place in hell for a man like that to be that willing to try to take someone's child out of this world in that way.
Yeah, very sad. You are right, Keisha. The parents will need therapy too. They may be blaming themselves for sending him to pick up the siblings. Facts. Facts. A lot of healing needs to go on overall in that family, and that's why I think they need others to help right now. Help them.
You're right, Diva. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. Okay, Julius, what are your thoughts? Did we lose you, Julius? I don't know if we lost Julius. Okay. What are your thoughts?
This is what I said earlier. Sorry to interrupt. You know, this is just screaming racial, and I agree that there needs to be a lawsuit found on the police department, because for them not to do their job and to file charges against the individual when the weapon was found, the pow items were, you know, in that child, you know, it went through the child, you know, the evidence is there. The evidence is there. And you know, it's so funny that we can so quickly accuse Jonathan Majors, and though it's not the same thing, but we can quickly accuse him of doing something that we have no evidence, but something that we have complete evidence of sitting in our face, and they awaited to file charges. It is just it's just
And he home today. He home today.
yeah, and it's unspeakable. But I also want to make a special shout out to Benjamin Crump, attorney Benjamin Crump. Let's keep him and his legal team as well in our prayers, you all, because he is on a lot of cases where this situation is very similar in the families that he is working with. And so I can only imagine the hardship that they, as the attorneys and the legal team, are going through, you know, while they are fighting alongside with these families for justice. So let's keep him in our prayers and his legal team and his legal business, as well as the families who are experiencing the loss of their loved ones and the trauma of the harm of their loved ones.
Amen. Robin, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to resist my natural inclination to talk about the politics of this. I'm going to speak solely about Ralph and his family.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know that everything I'm hearing from the panelists tonight is contrary to what I have experienced in watching interviews and the like. Starting with yesterday with Ben Crump telling us that President Biden called and spoke with Ralph for about 25 to 30 minutes. They had quite great banter. This morning on CBS Mornings, Gayle King interviewed his mom, Miss Nag. I can't say her last name. It's like Nagbme, something like that. And Lee Merritt, the attorney. What I learned about the young man, first, his injuries. He did sustain one wound to the frontal lobe above his orbital socket, as well as in his shoulder.
Wow.
There is said to be some fragments in his brain. However, after the mom said that I probably should say this last, but I'm out of turn. But the mom said that when she spoke to his pediatrician and they talked about his condition and especially the wounds that he sustained, they found it inexplicable because I didn't hear about him having these emotional issues in response. I heard about him being closer to himself. And she said that the physician said it was only by the grace of God, and it is a miracle that he is in the space that he's in. She talked about his brilliance. This kid is, she said that the kinds of arguments she had with her son were put down the sheet music and do your English homework. And he said, no, Ma, I don't want to do it because it's boring. It was boring, not because he wasn't able, it's because it wasn't up to his stuff. Because as a high school student, he takes all college level courses. And in fact, so we don't get it twisted when you hear about it later and think that it's associated with this incident, he has already been, prior to this incident, approached by Yale University asking him to apply to their university. So, by all accounts, a couple of things. The young man is bright, brilliant, respectful, family oriented. The whole family is. His injuries, as his mother explained them this morning, and I feel like what I'm hearing is a little bit amped up because of a potential for a lawsuit, which I don't think is necessary because the facts support, in my opinion, substantial, not only charges, restitution, and the like. But I want to encourage everyone that based on seeing his mother, who was actually quite humble when I saw her, this young man is it's going to take a minute, but I don't expect that he's going to suffer as much physically as I feel like we're putting on him. And that is the miracle that we speak of. And that's what I want to look to, think about, pray about, and sleep on tonight. And that tomorrow he's better, and the day after he's even better. And that thing, Diva, about him not going home, it seems to me that is the best for him. They didn't describe the entire home environment, but it sounds like the village lives in that home, whether or not everyone is physically there. And I think that I trust that what the mom said and how she presented herself and spoke of her family and how they are supportive, then in fact, that is the most appropriate place for them. And we can't judge or question that. And the reason, and I'm saying we, not you, I'm saying we. And the reason, by the way, that her son went to pick up his brothers is, she said, because of how things are. The boys were supposed to be at a sleepover, but she didn't want her kids sleeping over at anybody's house. And so they were given the opportunity to hang out and then be picked up, at a later point in the evening. And he was just doing a favor to his mom, just picking the kids up. But again, I have every expectation based on what I heard and saw from yesterday through today that his recovery is destined. He's going to be fine, and we will see his greatness on the bigger stage.
Yeah, we're all praying for him, of course. I don't think anybody's judging, but I do want to say this. I pulled this up, and this was from 7 hours ago. Ralph's mother says teen crying buckets of tears after being pow-powed by the homeowner. Ralph Yarl, the black teen that was pow-powed in the head by the man for going to the wrong home to pick up his younger siblings, has been crying buckets of tears since he was wounded last week, his mother said on Monday. In her first interview since the pow-pow on Gail Keane on CBS Mornings, that her 16-year-old son is doing considerably well physically, but he is still dealing with emotional trauma. And who would not be? Who would not be? You're thinking 1 minute you just went to go pick up your little twin brothers, and then next thing you know, you're dealing with this particular situation. And so I'm saying none of us, this is just my opinion from working in the hospital. And let me just read this part, then I'm gonna say my opinion and we close out. He's able to communicate mostly when he feels like it. Well, mostly he just sits there and stares, and the buckets of tears roll down his eyes. You can see that he's just replaying the situation over and over again, and that just doesn't stop my tears either. This is too traumatic, in Diva's opinion, for them to deal with this on their own. You got him crying, then you're crying, and she said she feels like he's replaying this thing over and over and over again in his head. So we can have all the resources we want. None of us is the jack of all trades, and you cannot physically deal with the fact that I sent my kid there to pick up his siblings. This thing happened to him. He's crying, I'm crying, and you think the twin brothers are not feeling this too? There's therapy that needs to go on, and sometimes we can have the whole village in our house, but what we're dealing with in our house is still outside of the scope of what we can handle. Okay, you have parents that go through dementia, and no matter how good you are, how much the village is there, y'all can't handle it because the person need to be watched 24 hours. All I'm saying is that these are amazing people. This is a traumatic thing that happened. It's impacting their entire family, and I think help is needed all around. Let me just say this: prayers all around. Things need to change all around. And yes, control of these pow pows. My thing is, at 84, you start to forget where you put your keys. Why should you even be allowed to have one of those? But I'm gonna close out there. Thank you guys for being here. This train was mad local. It was mad local. But hit the like button. I appreciate all of y'all for being here. I appreciate everyone's opinions. Have a good night. I'll see you next time.
Subscribe to Diva's channel if you have not subscribed, and become a member to her members channel. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.